anytime we talk about machine learning, anytime we talk about artificial intelligence, I wander back to some of the conversations I've had with physicians, and there's still a reticence by some physicians to adopt this kind of stuff. How do physicians view this and the use of this technology, and what's going to take it forward, do you think?
It's interesting. I started my health tech career in clinical decision support when I stopped practicing and I moved over to the corporate space. I worked for an organization where we sold just static order sets, just CPOE order sets in the early 2000s. And that started my journey of managing physician cultural adoption. And it's really interesting to look back now, 15 years later or 16 years later, and we're still doing that, right? I mean, if you asked a physician now, like, how do you feel about just a passive asthma order set or CP? They'd say, yeah, of course, I've been using that for over a decade. But at the time, it was very challenging, right, to get this adopted and become part of the workflow. And so I think we're just same story, fifth verse now as we see more and more AI and ML, and it becomes more commonplace and more organizations are bringing it on board. So there's nothing magical. It's just the same kind of formula. We need to make sure that whatever solutions we bring forth, in this case, AI and ML, that we're able to demonstrate a solid clinical ROI, because that matters more than anything to the physician. So having those success metrics in place. So with the case study that like Dr. Quinones just described with radiomics, being able to point back and say, with a 97% accuracy, this, and this was identified in these 200 patients. And by measurement, their length of stay or any other adverse outcome was decreased by X%. And so I think that we know that now, right? Like two decades into it, you really need to present that to clinicians. And so I think health systems should keep that in mind as they roll out solutions, putting in those metrics and a plan to measure them. And then I think engaging stakeholders early and often, bringing physicians to the table, making sure that their voice is heard and that they can help become part of the process and become sort of invested in it, I think is really important. So it's nothing magical. I think it's just what we've been doing over the years. And I guess the third thing that helps is there are the folks that are early adopters. They embrace change. They want these solutions. And so getting them to be advocates to their peers has always been really helpful to me, bringing solutions to organizations. And so, yeah, I think a combination of those things, and we just keep learning from what we've done in health tech over the years and growing on it.
We found that when you're rolling out new technology, like say, like a machine learning model that's going to predict patient risk for some type of condition, if it can be done in such a way that it minimizes the disruption to the current clinical workflow, like maybe putting that risk score right in the electronic health record, as opposed to requiring the clinician to interact with some second application, that also can help with adoption and receptiveness quite a bit.